this instructional video, I'm going to show you the process of making cyanotype. From mixing the chemistry, coating the papers, creating a composition, exposing the papers to UV light, washing the prints, and eventually drying the print. So what is cyanotype? Cyanotype is a cameraless photographic technique whereby you coat the papers in the chemistry, lay objects onto the coated papers, expose it to UV light, and what you're left with is a negative image of this rich cyan, meaning blue, print. Here we have the chemistry that we're using to make the cyanotypes. The brand that I use is by a company called Jacquard, and you can easily buy this online. And what the chemistry involves is part A, which is potassium ferricyanide, and we have part B, ferric ammonium citrate. Now when you receive the chemistry, they come dry in the bottles, powder form in each bottle, and what you have to do is fill them up with water and give them a good shake, both bottles. The lifespan of these bottles does last a long time, so up to over a year. So once you mix the chemistry, it becomes active in its own bottle, and you can keep hold of that and use that for quite a while. Now what you have to do is you need to mix equal measures of part A and part B to create the active chemistry to coat the papers with. To create the active UV sensitive chemistry, you have to mix equal parts A and part B, away from UV light and bright sunlight. So a little chemistry goes a long way with cyanotype. So don't mix too much, because once the chemistry is mixed together, it will only last for a few hours. And what I normally do is coat a load of papers all in one go, but you can certainly get a lot coated out of a little bit of chemistry. So using a paintbrush or a foam sponge, coat the papers with the chemistry. And I use watercolour paper because it's thick, but you can use any paper to experiment with, newspaper or whatever you wish. You can paint the whole piece, or you can paint shapes onto the paper. It's totally up to you. Creative license. Here I am doing circles on this other piece. And as you can see, the chemistry is yellow in this form as it goes on to the paper. Once you've coated your papers, you'll need to let them dry in a darkened place. What I normally do is I tuck them away in a drawer. They only take about an hour or so to dry. And once they're dry, they are UV sensitive. So always keep them in the dark place or in the dark until you're ready to print. Sometimes I keep them in a box. And if you leave them out, they will expose. So, creating composition. So what I'm doing here is I've collected some botanicals and some objects that I'd like to use to create my cyanotypes. And what we do is we just lay them on top of the coated papers, move them around, see what we think is right, and just generally getting a good composition of what we think we would like to use and how we would think the print would come out. And what will happen is the silhouettes will appear. And what I'm doing here is laying some glass on top, and what the glass does is it presses the objects down onto the paper and it lays them flat. So that just means that you get a cleaner, crisper lines. Exposure. So in an ideal world, we would do this outside in the summer sunshine, but because it's currently winter in the UK, and if we did this outside at the moment and exposed it to natural UV light, it would probably take around 30 minutes or maybe more for a single exposure, depending on whether it was a sunny day or a cloudy day. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use UV lamps to expose the prints. Now, as you can see, it started off yellow. And as we expose it to the UV lamps, the print turns dark blue initially. So it will go from yellow to dark blue, and eventually what we want it to go to is this kind of rich copper colour. And as you can see, it's slowly turning copper around the centre, and the edges are still a little bit blue. Now when it eventually does turn all copper, that tells us that the print is ready and it's ready to be washed. So carefully remove the glass and then take off your objects. And what it reveals is the copper print with the blue and the yellow underneath in the silhouettes. Stage is washing. So what we have to do is we drop our prints into a tray of water and just slowly agitating the water backwards and forwards for it to wash over the print, and gently just moving them about and rubbing the surface of the print with my fingertips to remove the cyanotype chemistry and reveal the white printed silhouette. So this shouldn't take long, about 2 minutes in total to wash them off. Blotting and drying. So what we do is we give them a little shake and remove any excess water off with a little pinch them in between our fingers, give them a little squeeze, and then lay them down on top of the towel and press down to blot the cyanotypes dry. And there we have it, revealed. Our prints all ready. And at the moment they're quite light blue, but as they will dry over the next 24 hours, they will go this lovely dark, deep Prussian blue.